Alrighty, so match week number 10 is in the books. And as I said before, I'm going to first review the Sunday game before tomorrow. I'll look at the busy Saturday night action. Well, I said it's busy, but there's only going to be 7 games that I'm going to be talked about from last night, and I'll do the review tomorrow. But in terms of the Sunday action, you like goals? You like crazy action? Because there were definitely a lot of that in terms of the Sunday action. 21 goals that was scored in these 4 games alone. That is probably the most goals that we have ever seen in terms of the 4 games slate on Sunday. And this was also a great day for road team as well, as 3 of the 4 road team was able to get all 3 points. We actually almost went perfect when it comes to all 4 road team getting all 3 points today. And we also saw the last unbeaten team suffer their first loss of the season, but we also saw one team that is now joining CF Montreal as the team that currently tied with Sporting KC as the longest that they have to start the season without a win at 10 games. But with that being said, let us first talk about the first game, which is Minnesota versus the Vancouver Whitecaps. And right now, the Whitecaps is an absolute wagon. I mean, it really doesn't matter if they're coming off the greatest win in their club history, or the fact that they're putting a bunch of reserve player in the first half and eventually put in some of the starters. They're still gonna keep winning games no matter what, and Minnesota kind of found that out, especially in the second half. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game, see Harvey heads it wide from the set piece. Unsurprisingly, the Whitecaps had most of the possession. Minnesota was happy to sit back and play their usual transition game, but the shots were only 1-0 up to this point, and this was the game where really in the first half, this was not an indictment of what we're gonna see for the rest of the day, because that first half, yeah, it was tough to watch. It was kind of a bit of a lull kind of game, and it's not just because as a Minnesota fan seeing how toothless that they were going for on the attacking end, but also just as a neutral itself, it was just an absolute snooze fest up to this point where neither of these teams really create anything going forward. Pereira would then miss it way wide from long range before Yoboa hits it right to Takaoka. 30 minutes in, the shots were still 4-0 for Minnesota, but none of them has really been dangerous. And again, it's been just a bit of a snooze fest. Harvey would then hits it right to Takaoka. The possession was 53-47 in favor of Vancouver. So this again is the problem for Minnesota. When they are going to have the possession, they're not really going to do much about it. We've seen it in the last 3 games. And now I think the other big alarming thing coming out of this game, even when Vancouver had the possession, Minnesota aren't able to go on the counter attack or go on their transitional game that they've shown very dangerous throughout this season. I mean, this was another game where both Taniel Shai and Kelvin Yoboa just had a relatively quiet game, and I rarely mentioned their name throughout this review. But in the fourth minute of stoppage time, Pereira would put it wide off the volley, and we do have to have time. Unsurprisingly, scoreless between both of these teams. Now in the second half, Rosales would put one into the wonder wall before Dane Sinclair denied Rios from long range, as that was kind of by far the best chance of the game as well, because up to this point there was really not much dangerous chance by either of these teams. And keep in mind, this is also when heading into the second half, Vancouver started to put some of their starters in. Maybe they feel like they can snatch all 3 points in this game, and it worked out in a big way because one of the starters that they put in is their star man Sebastian Holter in the midfield, as he scored here in the 55th minute. Originally, the goal was disallowed for offside, but they overruled that because there was no offside on that play, and it's in some ways, it's kind of great to see that goal was overturned. Well, not in a Minnesota perspective. For me, obviously, I was a little bit annoyed, but that was just an absolute banger for Sebastian Berhalter, just to show you how good he is from long range. We kind of saw that this season before, and he does it again. And just like that, the Whitecaps were up 1-0. Lud did look to answer, but he missed wide in the 61st minute. It's another quiet game that Robin Lud had in this one. And I think it's also not surprising to see that with the way that Minnesota has really struggled on the attacking end. Part of that is because Robin Lud has not going. It feels like Robin Lud has kind of becoming the new Emmanuel Reynoso to this team. When he gets going, this team is going to do well going forward. But when he's not going, yeah, we're just kind of seeing the struggle that the team has in these last couple of games. And I say that even though in the beginning of the season he didn't get going and things were which still going well, but you get what I'm trying to say there. But anyway, in the 62nd minute, Harvey would head it over from the corner. It feels like the Loons attack have finally woke up. It feels like that banger from Berhalter was definitely a a wake up call for them to trying to be more aggressive going forward on the attacking end. It didn't quite work though because just a couple of minutes later, Pedro Vite would score from Ngando and Rios to make it 2-0 in favor of the Whitecaps, and that was just a vintage Whitecaps attack. I mean, the fact that they just that Minnesota defense like that. This is a Minnesota defense that has been one of the best defensive team in the league. They have coming into this game not conceding a goal in the last two game as well, and they had a shutout streak that goes almost 200 plus minutes. But it just feels like the Whitecaps made it look easy in terms of playing against them at the back. So that made it 2-0. Longwane did look to answer, but he heads this one wide. And then in the 71st minute, Pedro Vite scored again. This time he scored from Ahmed and Ngando to make it 3-0 in favor of the Whitecaps. And by the way, this is also noting that this second goal happened after 8 minutes before, where Minnesota decided to switch from five at the back to four, and that changes definitely was costly for Ramsey. I mean, I can understand that they wanted to look for a more attacking end. I think they were putting Longwane more going for it on the attack, so that's why they go for it at the back. But knowing the fact that they didn't really play the system at all this season, I was not surprised the fact that they looked lost at the back. I mean, for some that might say that this was a wrong decision by Eric Ramsey, I don't think so because he has to take the gamble in terms of trying to get more attacking threat. It was pretty clear that in terms of this five at the back formation, at least in these last couple of weeks, it just have not worked whatsoever. The attack has been absolutely stale, so maybe he was trying to go four at the back, maybe hoping that will get this team going on the attacking end. And while it definitely did open a little bit on the attacking end, this also means that because of the team didn't play at the four at the back system at all this season, you can definitely see there was confusion at the back line. And some of these goals that were conceded by Minnesota kind of play part of the confusion that is when it comes to a four at the back system that they haven't played compared to when they're playing five at the back. Sabi would then puts it high on the overhead kick in the 75th minute. By the way, I'll mention a little bit about the incident that he had with Rosales, even though I didn't write it on the board, and it's a very unfortunate situation that we'll talk about in just a bit. But in the 79th minute, Minnesota did get one back. Oh, by the way, I also said Vancouver was just an absolute wagon right now. I mean, they're not done in terms of getting more goals. It feels like they're just gonna put an embarrassment against Minnesota. Probably putting the biggest loss that Minnesota has ever suffered at home at Allianz Field. I believe Minnesota has never lost by more than 4 goals at Allianz Field. I know that they lost by 3 goals a couple of times, but I don't think they've ever lost by more than 4 goals in a game. But that being said, in the 79th minute, Minnesota does get one back, and of all players to end the drought, it's Will Trapp scoring his second goal. Keep in mind, he only scored 4 goals coming into this season as a Minnesota player. He already kind of had half of that this season with his second goal from Oluwe Shari and Shashoa to make it 3-1 in favor of Vancouver, and also that ended the drought, a 340 plus minute without scoring a goal. It's kind of hard to believe that it's been that long since this attack has got going, and this is considering the beginning of the season where this attack looked like was very free flowing, and yet now they kind of got hit through a rough patch, and certainly that was the last player I thought was going to end the drought, especially that was one of the players that scored the goal that I remember against NYCFC. Wasn't he the last player to score the last goal? Yeah, he was the last player to score for Minnesota against NYCFC that started this drought. So who would have thought that the last player that scored prior to this drought would be the guy that actually ended the drought for Minnesota. But in the 82nd minute, Sabi looked to answer, but he was denied by Dane Sinclair before Vite had a shot that was deflected off the line. That could have been his hat trick. Bovina then have a shot that was clear off the line. Vancouver, they weren't done when it comes to scoring more goals in this one. The Loons back line, they look completely checked out up to this point. And again, if it wasn't for those heroic clearance and also Dane Sinclair making a couple of saves, this probably could have been ugly. More ugly than the 3-1 scoreline indicated. But nevertheless, Vancouver, like I said, they're an absolute wagon right now. They just cannot stop winning. It's another win for them on the road, a 3-1 win. The shots in this one, 9 shots for the 13 that Minnesota has, 4 shots on goal for the 5 that Vancouver has. 7 shots off target for the one that Vancouver has. Both team had 2 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Minnesota has in this game. And I think it's kind of safe to say that we might start to hit the panic button for this Minnesota team, because yes, I know this did end the longest unbeaten run that this team has at 8 games. But when you look at the performance that they've been putting the last couple of games, not only it's simply not good enough, but they do not look like a team that is ready to be a contender in the Western Conference. And this game kind of shows you, it just feels like Vancouver was in a different world with the way that how they attack in the second half compared to the starter. And this is also kind of where maybe Eric Ramsey might be looking at this team and maybe make some changes in terms of the team as well. I know that there's been that rumor of Julian Gresso coming into this team, and maybe if Minnesota does eventually get this signing done, which it's hard to believe that they still haven't got this signing done, even though there's been a lot of rumor that the signing was completed. But yeah, maybe that of course would spark the attack a little bit more. But it is pretty clear that right now, this attack is pretty much in a flunk right now. And then on the defensive part, it's pretty clear that they simply cannot play without five at the back. If they go away from five at the back, yeah, that's kind of the reality that they're gonna set in. So while I hear some people say they should do a formation change, I mean, I don't think they're gonna really go with a four at the back formation change, unless if Eric Ramsey decided to make the decision and decided to use that during training and hope that the guys will adapt to that new formation. Because as I said, if they do a formation change, it's not gonna be not at five at the back. It is still gonna stay at five at the back. And that we already saw what happened when they decided to go four at the back, and how that really was an absolute disaster class in the making. But that being said, moving on in the next game. And now let's get to the crazy game, because it's hard to believe this was actually the most normal game out of the next three that I'll top out, because the next three I'm going to top out kind of went off the rails when it comes to the goal scoring. And we start off with this game between Miami versus FC Dallas, and Dallas still remains unbeaten against Miami in the regular season. Yes, I know they did win against or Miami did beat Dallas in the Leagues Cup through a PK shootout, but they still haven't beat them in MLS play, and that kind of remains true. Now, I also understand that Miami pretty much rested all their starter, or at least most of their starters, just like how Vancouver did. And unlike Vancouver, Miami didn't really bring in their their start most of their starters in the second half, and also didn't play Messi and friends for the second half as well. But this team had a 3-1 lead in this game. I mean, you would think that with this team have a 3-1 lead, that should be that when it comes to this game. But Dallas had other ideas, and this is kind of the thing about Dallas. This is the team that is just so unpredictable at times this season, where they have had these kind of games where, for whatever reason, there's times where they look very boring going for on the attack, and then there's games where they just completely pop off and pull off some unexpected resort, like what we see in this one. And it started in the 8th minute as well, as Shaq Moore would score his first goal for Dallas to make it 1-0 in favor of Dallas. And really, this is one that Miami has no one to blame but themselves. They didn't clear their lines whatsoever, and was punished because of it. Kamaski did look to answer, but he puts it high on the free kick. But then in the 16th minute, Shaq Moore basically did a Yamar here. So he scored an own goal here. They actually originally gave this to Fafa Pico, but apparently the reason why they gave this to Moore was when Haas make the save here, and it was an incredible save that he made here. It was kind of unfortunate that it kind of bounced off the back of Shaq Moore, and it was goal bound. And before they had a chance to clear this one away, it looked like that ball did cross the line. Now, even when they did clear it away, it kind of played right back to Fafa Pico, who basically had a tapped in. But they said that because that ball crossed the line already when Dallas was frantically trying to clear away, they're going to say that of course counts as the moment when the goal was scored, and not when Fafa Pico basically tapped did in on the second attempt. But nevertheless, it doesn't really matter. It's still a goal for Inter Miami, and just like that, we're tied up at one apiece. Then there was a huge shout for a penalty for Miami, as they feel like Julio handballed this one. The referee says no. But it was no doubt momentum was with Miami up to this point. They were pushing to try to get the lead. They were well in control of this game. The shots were four apiece for both of these teams up to this point, and then in the 29th minute, Miami does get that lead as Abando would score his first career MLS goal from Ian Frey and Alvarez to make it 2-1 in favor of Inter Miami. So again, there was a lot of youngster getting some chances in this game to improve, and Obando definitely was one of those guys that definitely impressed in this one and scoring on his debut as well. We then go for a period where not much really happened. Miami still kind of had most of the possession and controlling the game. Norris would then head it wide from close in the 41st minute, but we do head to halftime with Miami leading 2-1. In the second half, same thing. Miami kind of had most of the possession. It feels like you're starting to see a typical kind of inner Miami game where they're just kind of cruising their way to victory and just kind of controlling the game and not letting the opposition have any of the ball to try to go on the attack again. And then in the 56th minute, it looked like for sure they put this one away as David Martinez would score from Kamaski to make it 3-1 in favor of Inter Miami. And like I said, game's over, right? I mean, Inter Miami is not known to blow leads, right? Well, the shots were 7-5 for Miami up to this point. Moore did look to respond, but he was absolutely robbed by calendar here. But then in the 65th minute, this is when the comeback started as Hookney would score to make it 3-2 in favor of Miami. And then just a couple of minutes later, they would tie the game up as Anderson Julio would score from Perginio to tie the game up at three apiece. And this comes from a transitional moment as well. Miami thought that Julio was in an offside position, but the offside flag never went up. And yeah, like I said, it's free up to this point. Chase Stadium definitely was stunned because yeah, it's not very often you see Miami blow leads, especially like they did in this game. And I know, yes, they didn't put most of their starters in this one, but still, I mean, it seems like up to this point it was a very Miami looking kind of game until those two goals that have scored, and it just kind of feel like this is one of those crazy game involving FC Dallas again. Again, they had these kind of game that we've seen under Peter Quill that they have involved these high scoring games, especially on the road, and it feels like we're on that point. And in fact, it feels like now the momentum was with Dallas because I'm pretty sure Miami was still shell shocked the fact that they were 3-1 up just 5 minutes ago, and now they found themselves level pegging. And then in the 81st minute, Dallas would retake the lead again as Perginio would score from Farrington to make it 4-3 in favor of Dallas. Martinez would look to answer, but he hits it high from close range, and then Allen would hit it right to pause in the 86th minute. Miami was definitely pressing to try to get the equalizer. Dallas was kind of hanging on for a bit, and this is kind of where you're thinking, well, yes, Miami did blow that 3-1 lead, but we have seen before where Miami's going to score a late equalizer to tie this game up, right? I mean, that's kind of what they've been known to do in these last couple of years. Well, in the 90th minute, Calendar would deny Padrino of his second goal, and I immediately wrote, will that moment come back to haunt Dallas? Because how many times we have said when you're facing against an Inter Miami side, even if it's not the strongest side, you need to put away your chances and put them to bed. Because as long as if this game remains one goal, you know Miami's have a chance to still steal it late. Alande would then hits it onto the roof of the net on the free kick, but in the end, Dallas holds on. They win 4-3 in this one. They hand Inter Miami their first loss of the season. And as I said before, that means that there is no MLS team right now this season that have an unbeaten record anymore. Every single MLS team have suffered at least one loss in the loss column. The shots in this one, 13 shots per both of these teams, 9 shots on goal for the 6 that Miami has, 4 shots off target for the 1 that Dallas had, 2 shots on block for the 3 that Dallas had, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that Dallas has in this game. And I know, yes, this is a game where Dallas definitely didn't play the superstar that we know Miami has, but they don't care. I mean, they didn't come into this game and it wasn't their fault the fact that Miami decided to punt this game away. They'll definitely take the free points, especially when you can get it on the road at Chase Stadium, which is a place where not a lot of team is able to walk away of this stadium of getting a point, let alone all 3 points like what Dallas has. And for Inter Miami, I mean, yes, you could say that. Well, this is just us putting our backup team. Maybe if we put the starters, we probably wouldn't have blown a 3-1 lead. But then you got to also look at the back line of how. Remember how I said they kind of put a backup team? Yeah, the back line, they definitely had a couple of starters there as well. And again, anytime when you're blow a 3-1 lead. Doesn't matter if you put your strongest team or you decided to put your weaker team to maybe punt this game away. That's not a good look. And especially with the way that Inter Miami has really struggled lately. I mean, this team, it's actually been a while since we've seen Inter Miami get a win. I mean, this has been a really rough patch that Javier Mascherano has to overcome. And especially if you want to maybe get some momentum heading into that Thursday game. Yeah, losing 4-3 and blowing a 3-1 lead at home, even if you're playing your second team, is not really a good way to gain some momentum, especially against a Whitecaps team that, like I said, the Whitecaps is just an absolute wagon right now. They look absolutely fearless right now, and I don't think the Miami will have that fear factor in them, especially with how poor of a run of form that they've been in recent game compared to how confident the Whitecaps will be heading into that game against Inter Miami in the second leg on Wednesday. But with that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the last two games because I put two game on this board and I decided to put the two other games on the other board because I knew there was going to be some crazy action and I might need the half of the board to write down the notes, and indeed I was actually smart to do so because as we'll talk about in the next two games, there was also a lot of goals that happened in those games as well. All right, so now looking at the next crazy game between LAFC versus St. Louis, and despite the fact that this was a game that didn't feature most of the goals, this was probably the craziest out of the four that we saw. I mean, this was a game where I think at the end of the game, I don't think either head coach will be kind of happy in terms of how the resort kind of went for them, and we'll talk about it in that just a bit. But in the first half, Jesus would puts it right to Lund as LAFC was on the front foot as they were looking for the opener straight off the back. Martinez would then hits it right to Lund in the 10th minute. The shots were 2-0 for LAFC, as I thought LAFC dictate the play, which is kind of what I expected coming into this game. There was a shout for a penalty for LAFC not given. Bawanga would then puts it high after Lund didn't clear that one as LAFC continued to ramp up the pressure, trying to get the opening goal up to this point. Long would then heads it wide from close range. The shots were 5-0 for LAFC up to this point, and this also would be a theme at least throughout this game where LAFC had tons of chances in this game, but yeah, they were mostly wasteful. And also Ben Lund once again, showing why he's probably the best backup goalkeeper in this league right now. Because in the 32nd minute, Bawanga was in on goal here, and usually when Bawanga is 1v1 with the goalkeeper, he usually is gonna score the goal, but not according to Ben Lund here because he absolutely robbed him with a faith save as well. So that's a bit of a painful save for Ben Lund, but he'll take it, especially facing against one of the best 1v1 player when it comes to scoring. And as I even said, Lund and LAFC bad finishing is the only reason why this is still no. I mean, it's crazy to believe the fact that LAFC had all the chances in this one, and yet the scoreline still read 0. And he continued of making incredible save, Ben Lund, as he robbed Jesus here as he was pushing this one onto the post. Then there was a mad scramble basically ensue, and St. Louis just about clear that one away. And at that point, I was just thinking, yeah, LAFC is getting blue ball up to this point. I mean, it just does not want to go in for them. And they almost conceded on the other end as well because in the 40th minute, Lloris would deny Poischer on a rare chance for St. Louis, but we do head to halftime somehow scoreless in this game. Now in the second half, Lund would deny Martinez in the front post. It looks like LAFC were back to business in terms of trying to press for the opening goal, but instead in the 52nd minute, just completely against the run of play, Cedric Toischer would score from Horn to make it 1-0 in favor of St. Louis. And again, really, that was probably what only the second chance that St. Louis had up to this point. And also, they mentioned that's also the first ever goal that St. Louis have scored against LAFC. Coming into this game, not only the fact that LAFC have won every single meeting, but St. Louis have yet to score a goal against LAFC. So the fact that they were able to score that goal and it came completely against the run of play, I mean, yeah, just kind of feel like this is kind of one of those games where maybe the team that has the least amount of chances put away their chances and capitalize on those, and the team that have boatload of chances and was also winning the XG margin by a huge amount just doesn't do it. I mean, we already seen it this season where we might see a smash and grab or even just that kind of a rope bank heist of getting all 3 points despite being absolutely outplayed. Play happened. I mean, we saw it last week between Toronto and RSL with Toronto getting outshot 23-2, and yet TFC walked away with 3 points. And I thought we might be in a way to, of seeing this happening with St. Louis as well. But in the 54th minute, Bawanga would curls it way wide as he was looking to respond. Klaus would then puts it wide from close range. I thought St. Louis, it feels like they started to be rejuvenated. It feels like that goal not only is something that they needed, but they started to try to go more on the attack instead of just sitting back. And that can definitely work two way. One way is that that's good if you're a St. Louis fan because that's been the frustrating thing that they have with this team and especially with Olaf Melberg maybe going way too the defensive trying to hold on to the league, but now instead it feels like it's a little different that they actually are going to try to get that second goal. But the problem with that is that the second way that it can go in this is that well now you just allow LAFC a lot of space at the back and knowing that LAFC is a team that fry on transition, yeah, you don't want to commit too many more man forward and get punished because of it. But in the 62nd minute, Giroud would puts it way wide despite being wide open in the box. That finishing kind of sums up LAFC Day and Giroud's career because besides that amazing free kick that he scored, he still have not scored an open play goal for LAFC. Bawanga would then hits it right to Lund. Tillman would puts it high from close range. The shots were 16-6 for LAFC. Yet scoreline still read 1-0. That quickly came to an end in the 70th minute. As in the 70th minute, Bawanga would score from his own to tie the game up at one apiece. Again, what a goal makes a difference for Denise Bawanga, as we saw couple of week against the Quakes, where as soon as he scored the goal, you just kind of had a feeling that the confidence is there. We saw it last year as well, where he kind of got off to a slow start, but as soon as he got that one goal, he started to get going, and it's safe to say that he's definitely getting going this season with him scoring the goals for this team. But yeah, I also thought that the dam might finally start to broke for LAFC and especially the St. Louis defense because with all the pressure that LAFC has put, now they're hungry to try to get the second goal. Holland's Head tried to do so. In fact, he tried to chip the goalkeeper here from long range, but he just puts this one high. But then a penalty was given to LAFC, and Bawanga was brought down by Yarrow there in the box. So you're thinking, well, this is kind of what I mean when the dam finally broke. It feels like that St. Louis resistance has finally been broken. LAFC is eventually going to get the lead, right? However, in the 75th minute, from the spot, Ben Lund says no because again, Ben Lund he was standing on his head at time in this one, and he did it again here, denying Bawanga from the spot. It is not often you see Denis Bawanga miss from the penalty spot, but what a save this was from Lund to guess the right way and full stretch to save that one. Kind of learn something a little bit from Roman Burki. I'm not surprised that Ben Lund is having a breakout season ever since the injury to Roman Burki because when you have an experienced goalkeeper, especially a Champions League level goalkeeper as your mentor in Roman Burki, it is no surprise that Ben Lund is using using that mentor experience from the experienced Roman Burki and just kind of playing lights out in these last couple of games. But there was no doubt that LAFC continued to press for the lead. We then saw a red card happen as Morales gets a second yellow card. I actually forgot to put the red marker here because while I was kind of almost glued to this game because there was so much action. I literally forgot to change the color of the mark. So this should have been a red card, and you're just thinking, well, you just think eventually, actually LAFC is going to get that signal. Now they got the man advantage, and yes, the PK save what was a step back in terms of progression, but you're thinking eventually they're gonna get that second goal, right? Well, Harto would have a shot that was tipped over by Larice. St. Louis was looking to try to steal one late, and they thought they got it in the 90th minute, as Ordaz was actually credited this as an own goal, and this was just a chaotic scene as well. This all started when Larice actually missed the punch as well, so not a great moment there for Hugo Larice. Not the first time we've set at this season. He has had his fair share of blunder, but chaos basically resumed, and it looks like it hit off of Ordaz last in terms of it being an own goal. So as a result, it's 2-1 just like that against the odds. St. Louis has done it again. It looked like they were gonna walk away with 3 points in this one, but Denis Bouanga says not so fast because he scored here to make it 2-2 from Chingus Unda, as yeah, Bawanga is doing it again for LAFC. We saw it last season as well. At times he's been carrying this team. He's done it again in this one, and it's safe to say that he is back, and he is gonna be a menace in front of goal throughout the season. So that ties up at two apiece. Amaya looked to win it for LAFC late in this one, but he puts this over. What a moment that would have been for Frankie Amaya, who just arrived without LAFC from Toluca on loan and score a late winner as like that. But in the end, it ends in a 2-2 draw in this game. What a game this turns out to be. The shots in this one, 21 shots for the 12 that St. Louis had, 9 shots on goal for the 7 that St. Louis had, 2 shots off target for the 7 that LAFC had, 4 shots that was blocked for the 5 that St. Louis had, and possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that St. Louis has in this game. And like I said earlier, this is kind of one of those crazy game where I don't think either head coach will be that happy. Mainly because if you're St. Louis and Olaf Malbrook, you were so close to do a smash and grab in this one and get all 3 points and a much needed 3 points too to really kick start the season for St. Louis. But instead they gave up that late goal to drop points. And if you're LAFC, I mean, yes, Bouanga kind of saved them late in this one, but with the amount of chances that they got in this game, they will be kicking themselves and be looking at the sky thinking how in the world they did not win this game with all the momentum that they had. But that being said, moving on into the last game on this board is the Galaxy and the Portland Timbers. So as I said before, whenever both of these teams meet each other, there's going to be some fireworks, and boy, there were definitely fireworks, especially in the second half, and especially late in the second half as well. And we also saw an incident in this one where you could say that not only was some controversial referee decision, but maybe a little bit of a karma that happened compared to the first time when both of these teams met each other, where there was also a very controversial referee decision that Timbers fans probably still remember, and I'm pretty sure Phil Neville still remember that moment in the first ever meeting between both of these teams that might have cost them all three points. But in the first half, Kelsey would puts it wide as the flag came up. The Timbers had most of the possession early in this game, which was kind of surprised because I was not expecting that. I thought the Galaxy were going to have more of the possession. The Timbers were more team that I thought would be happy to just sit back and look for the transitional moment. In fact, there was no shot for the first 15 minutes, and I would say that this game, again, kind of very similar to the Vancouver Minnesota game where the first half was relatively relaxed and then the second half happened, and that's when defense pretty much just evaporate in the second half. Yamane would then puts it wide as the flag came up. The first shot of the game didn't came until the 24th minute, and it's all Painso shot that was deflected. The Galaxy was starting to control this game, and we're looking for the opening goal. Ramirez would miss wide from close in the 33rd minute before the first shot for the Timbers. Saw Mosquera puts it way wide, but then on that sequence where when the ball was way wide, the Galaxy kind of almost stopped playing, thinking that was going to go out. It didn't go out. Anthony picked it up. He put in a beautiful ball into the box, and there was the Costa there to meets it to give the Timbers a 1-0 lead. So yeah, not a great moment there for this Galaxy defense, and again, not just kind of giving up on that play originally, thinking that the play was over, but also just that the completely ball watch as Anthony delivered this one into the box. Ayala looked for another, but he puts this one over, and we do head to halftime with the Timbers leading 1-0. In the second half, I thought the Galaxy come out the gate strong and were looking for the equalizer, but instead the Timbers would double their lead. It's Santi Moreno. He scored from Anthony and Ortiz to make it 2-0 in favor of Portland, and there's the bread and butter is back on the menu for the Timbers. A lightning counterattack. That is kind of what they've been known for the past couple of years, and it happened again with them scoring that second goal. Parente did look to answer, but he hits it right to Pentemes. But then the 62nd minute, it would be 3-0 in favor of the Timbers as Kelsey would score from Anthony to make it 3-0 in favor of Timbers. So what a night it is for Anthony. It's safe to say that no doubt Anthony is having a great night when another guy by the same name is doing so well right now and are considered to be the meme over for Lord in La Liga as well, especially with his club Real Betis. Obviously, you probably know what I'm talking about. But anyway, 65th minute, Pinto would look to respond, but he would denied by Pentemes. But it kind of fall right back to him, and he had a chance on the second look, and he hits a weak shot right to Pantemis. That moment just kind of sums up the Galaxy attack this season. It's just not been going, and yet, as I said, that they did get one back as Ramirez would score from Painso and Royce to make it 3-1 in this game, and then just 2 minutes later, Royce would score from Ramirez and Peck, and all of a sudden, it's a 3-2 game, and all the sudden I'm thinking, well, looks like here we go again. We've seen this story before whenever both of these teams play against each other, where there's just nonstop action, especially on the attacking end. Defense pretty much can be put in the backseat at time, and I even wrote, "Buckle up, boys and girls," because this is where things could get wild again between these two teams. And then in the 75th minute, this is the controversy of the game, and this is a moment that as I mentioned earlier, where I think Pharma might have kind of stuck back on the Galaxy here because a penalty was given to the Timbers as Rodriguez was brought down by Garces, and I wrote "brought down" with a quotation mark because it was pretty clear that Rodriguez was not brought down by Garces. It looked like Rodriguez sold it a little bit there with the embellishment, but I also wrote it's a makeup call with a question mark because if you remember in the first ever meeting, remember how the Timbers late in that game probably should have got a penalty if the referee didn't just kind of play advantage, thinking that the shot they play advantage and the shot was gonna go in, but instead it goes wide, and how Phil Neville was absolutely fuming about the call, and even Pro admitted that they got that call wrong. Yeah, this is the makeup call because yeah, this is clearly not a penalty in my box. But hey, as the old saying go, the ball don't lie. Even in a different game, the ball don't lie. Justice eventually is going to be served. So in some way, you could say maybe justice is being done, even though it's still the wrong call in the end. I mean, with how bad Pro has been this season, and it's been forever, I guess they'll call that as just a is served as a makeup call that was being made. But nevertheless, Jonathan Rodriguez steps up to take the penalty, and he buries that to make it 4-2 in this game. Moreno did look for the fifth on the free kick, but he puts one right to McCarthy. There was a shout for a penalty for the Galaxy not given in the 85th minute before Pantemis denied Aldi in the front post. The Galaxy was continuing to press to try to get one back. Yoshida had a chance to do so, but he struck the post on a free header there. And then McCarthy on the other end denied Mora as he was in on goal. We have definitely reached MLS after dark mode up to this point. No defense was being played in the last couple of minutes of this game. Royce would then puts it over on the volley before Yoshida has the last chance of the game as he heads it wide from close range. But yeah, in the end, the Timbers, they won 4-2 in this one. Feels like a very Portland Timbers game that they would win by a high scoring affair, and also feel like this was a very Galaxy game from last season where it's not a Galaxy game, but there's no crazy action, and also a lot of chances, and at times defense being optional being mentioned in their game. But the shots in this one, 17 shots for the 9 that the Timbers had, 5 shots on goal for the 6 that the Galaxy had, 3 shots off target for the 2 that the Timbers had, 1 shot that was blocked for the 5 that the Galaxy had, and possession wise 54% possession compared to 46% possession the Timbers has in this game. And while the Galaxy will be very upset in terms of that call that got against them, again, they got benefit of a call early this season, so I think it's kind of only right the fact that things would go right back to the Timbers. I mean, as the old saying go, uh all things will eventually come back to one way, and it seems like that's kind of the case for the Timbers. Kind of got a little bit justice rewarded, even though at the end of the day that probably is not the way you want justice to be rewarded with a controversial call like that. And also, even without that controversial call, I mean, yes, there could be a case that the Galaxy might have come back in this game, but also the other thing you got to say about the Galaxy is the fact that don't find yourself 3-0 down in a game. I mean, they did not play well at all for majority part of this game, and it doesn't matter when they have the possession. That's kind of the game that the Timbers want and likes to play. They pretty much walk right into the trap that the Timbers like to do, working on the transitional moment. And then yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that of course, is the case, and eventually, the Timbers will be happy that at least they got a little bit of sweet justice and revenge after the blown call that we saw in the first ever meeting between both of these teams, and also with this loss, the Galaxy and now Montreal, and then joining Sporting KC are now the three teams to start the season without a win after 10 games, and there could be a chance where both of those teams could maybe ends up to break the record for the longest start to the season without a win. And I might even make a video soon, or even I'll probably do an emotion index soon as well, because I just realized we're at the end of the month. But I'll probably maybe do a video looking at which of these teams is eventually going to get their winless run, because it is hard to believe that we're now 10 games in the season, and it's also even harder to believe that the defending MLS Cup champion have now gone 10 games without a win. If you thought that that was going to be the case in the beginning of the season, nobody would have believed you. And also, before I do my usual ending outro, I literally just forgot to talk about the incident that happened in the Minnesota versus Vancouver game. That, yeah, there was an unfortunate incident near at the end of the game involving Rosales and Sabi. It looks like they might looking to see whether or not if or not Rodriguez, Rosales have said something egregious, might have said something discriminatory for Sabi as well. Obviously, we'll see how if there's something, or if this is just kind of a nothing burger. But if that's the case, I mean, if there was evidence against Rosales that he did use some derogatory words, yeah, I think Minnesota is gonna have to do something about that. Whether it's disciplinary action, or maybe remove him from the roster in general. We know that this game there's no room for racism, and it's sad to see that we're still seeing it in this time, and especially we've seen it a couple of times already this season. And again, we'll see how the investigation is going to be. We'll see whether or not if there is some finding, because if there indeed is finding, Rosales is definitely in big trouble right now. But there you have it. That is pretty much it. Looking at all of these games on the Sunday action, and as I said, tomorrow I'll look at the Saturday night action, where we had 7 games that happened on Saturday, or lighter action than usual compared to some match week where we have like 12 or 13 kind of games that all bunched up on Saturday night. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these Sunday games, which was really crazy in terms of what we've seen today. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.